What's up guys, this is Nick at Stridewise.com, where we look at casual and durable menswear and footwear in Queens, New York City today. I actually just moved from Manhattan to Queens. At the very top of my list of places to visit, where it's actually been for many, many years, is the raw denim and workwear mecca, Left Field NYC. You might notice this green stitching here is like kind of their trademark. I've been wearing their brown canvas pants here for a long time now. Back at home, we've got one of the Irish tweed coats. But of course, what they're best known for is their 100% American-made, 100% cotton, raw selvage denim. So let's meet the founder, Christian, and find out how this stuff became so important to him. Christian, thank you for having me in your store.
Pleasure, Nick. Thank you for coming out.
What is Left Field NYC about?
For like a brand that's doing heritage-inspired or vintage-inspired clothing, you know, for us it was hugely important to be made in America because it's kind of like an authentic factor for us. The country of origin has a lot to do with the heritage experience and the culture.
Yeah, and especially because so many of these aesthetics and these looks like from the United States, you know, like the jean was patented in the US. Why did you want to open a store that operated in like the vintage kind of casual space?
My parents were always into antiques, and we used to go to a lot of vintage flea markets. So for me, there was that constant like amazing experience of looking at old antique things and things that were built like beautifully, and just the aesthetic was just so much better. The quality of the materials, the paint, patina, the paints, and all these things.
Why was this the space that you wanted to operate in? Fabrics and designs that people used to wear for like manual labor and that sort of stuff. A lot of canvas, a lot of denim and so on.
I grew up wearing Levi's, depending upon what period it was, and bleached jeans in the 80s. And I didn't really grow up with raw denim. I didn't grow up with a lot of like salvage denim. As I kind of delved into one of my past jobs and started going into the wormhole with like Japanese fashion and Japanese magazines and stuff like that, he kind of brought the awareness of special things that in America we weren't even aware of or took for granted, or how much more the Japanese appreciate these things. And as you get more and more into them and understand the characters of the weave and the slub and the indigo and natural indigo versus, you know, synthetic indigo, and there's just so many different variations, and there's so much history. Like we use Mount Vernon for a canvas, which is from 1850, and they started out doing sailcloth. This was when the stuff was beautiful and cool and had style
and unpretentious because it was workwear. Right?
Yeah, it was just a working man's clothes. And
you seem to have a bigger emphasis on the American aspects than a lot of the other brands, which they'll often have just as much stuff made in Japan.
yeah.
Or it'll be more like the characteristics of the fabric or something like that,
Right.
that will be important for them to highlight with their product line than it specifically being made in the USA.
To us, it was just kind of like the hard route, because it's a lot easier to make things in Japan. In America, you have to show everyone like ways of doing it differently, and a lot of times the things that they think are right are actually what we don't want, because we want to kind of like wabi-sabi, a little off, a little.
Yeah, and you like the more time-consuming ways of making things. I mean, an example of that is just like the shuttle loom itself. Like selvage denim makes denim 10 times more slowly than projectile looms. And for most companies, it seems a pretty clear answer that you would emphasize the way of making something that is faster, because that makes more money and that's the point of a business.
Right.
And so what you have to do is to teach people to make things more slowly.
Also for us, you know, we kind of look at like Levi's and workwear should be affordable to someone who actually works. We also offer labor union discounts for our workwear collection to make it a little bit more affordable for people that are comparing it to like Carhartt that's made in China and it's mass produced and sold at Walmart.
I'm very interested in this overlap between workwear and workwear. A lot of it is inspired by what people wear to work. That said, it's often seen that they'll have something with some elastin in it for comfort, or some Gore-Tex for waterproofing, or some other synthetic fabrics. And sometimes you get asked, like, is workwear really workwear? I don't think it has to be at all. And I tend to just think of it more as heritage or minimalist or classic or something like that. But you really do target your products at people who use them to work, huh?
We're not trying to be posers and create something for rich kids that want to dress and play like cosplay workers and pretend like they're from the 40s or 50s and stuff. Like, we want our actual clothes be worn by, we've had all different kinds of people working, like steel workers and carpenters and all kinds of people that do hard manual labor. And it's important for us to actually have our stuff hold up. We actually had a guy working, he was, I think he was putting windows up in high-rise buildings. And one of the blades took off, and it was actually Mount Vernon canvas. The blade shot out to him, hit the inside of his pant, and the blade actually caught and stopped. So literally, he could have cut through one of his biggest arteries and bled to death.
Tell us more about these American mills that make your fabrics. The cornerstone or cornerstones of this sort of classic workwear style apparel is canvas and twill, canvas and denim.
Yeah.
The canvas is from Mount Vernon. The denim is typically from Vidalia in Louisiana, is that right? And that's the last place in the US making selvage denim, is that right?
That is. And they're using the original Draper X3 looms, shuttle looms, from the Conway Oak factory, which is really important because there's a lot of rumors going around saying that those looms were going to get junked by Conway Oak. Luckily, Vidalia did acquire all the looms. I think there was like 32 Draper X3s.
These sorts of conversations always revolve around denim and selvage and shuttle looms, which are a lot of fun. I find that a lot of people don't talk so much about canvas, and was sort of the precursor to jeans and denim. Like, they say the first denim jacket was a canvas jacket. What does Mount Vernon Mills do that's so interesting to you?
We felt it was important to continue using Mount Vernon, and we went as far as making up a Mount Vernon label to let people know that we were using Mount Vernon.
There is a lot of crossover with guys who like heritage vintage workwear and guys who like sustainable apparel. They're different but the same. Is sustainability like a value for you, or is it something that kind of just happened to come along with an interest in vintage workwear?
So anytime that you're dyeing or you're finishing or you're enzyming, you are creating more chemicals in the environment. So a lot of our stuff is raw. That is sustainability because we're not making additional wastewater for our country to deal with.
Yeah, I went to a jeans fading factory this year. The amount of water, and it gets washed for hours and hours over and over and over again. It really is a remarkable difference between raw and not raw denim as far as how much water gets used.
Yeah, the other interesting factor is Vidalia uses all locally grown cotton. We try to incorporate as much as we can with sustainability, recycled cottons. We've done a lot of socks with recycled cottons.
I've been following Left Field from afar for a long time. You have 4 fits. I've always been curious as to how they actually look in person, and I finally have my shot. Can we go and see how they'll look?
Let's do it.
This random passerby is kind enough to model for us. These jeans are the
Greaser.
These are the greaser.
Yeah.
The greaser, I feel like that's your most popular fit.
I guess if you're going to put it in terms of Levi's, it'd be like a 501 fit. The leg opening is not too tapered. Could just got a slight taper from the knee down. Just kind of like your classic all-around fit. This is pretty much what people go to.
And casual, yeah.
They want like just something basic. You know, some of their taper stuff generally goes over a boot, but you know, some people have want it to like not barely go over a boot. I want to make sure it gets over, like even now cowboy boots. Everyone's rocking cowboy boots.
This is the Chelsea fit.
Named after Chelsea Hotel. Kind of like rocker fit. This is our slim fit, not skinny fit. We don't do skinny. But it's tapered, it's slimmer than the knee, all the way down to the leg opening.
And it's slim in the thighs as well. Yeah. It's not a relaxed taper fit.
You know, this probably is less in demand right now with everyone going so wide, but it's that classic rocker, you know.
I can tell this Gen Z guy is very upset by going so skinny. You guys have your nice wide leg pants these days. Yeah. You know how hard it was for millennials. Now the Gen Z is feeling more comfortable now. Much better. This nice wide leg. This is the Smokestack.
This is the smoke. Like,
this is the newer fit, right? Of the 40s.
Fits. It's like a more like 40s, 50s cut. Not trying to be Jinko wide. It's just gives you a little extra room. Gives you like a little bit more of that cool little bit wideness, and you could even do a crease if you want to have that pointiness to the front. Sometimes looks cool.
That is cozy. This is actually the one that I have.
This is the Atlas fit.
Can you legally say who it's named after?
Inspired from Charles Atlas, but not using the name.
Well, it sounds like you are. So your take on the high-rise, relaxed, tapered fit or mid-rise?
It's just mostly for guys with big thighs.
A lot of times it'll say it's for the guy who lifts, but the thighs won't quite match with, the big thighs won't quite match with the small waist. Like it'll be like quietly, it's a fit for overweight guys.
Because if you pull your jean inside out, you'll notice that the selvage is cut right about here. If we ran the selvage all the way up, it would be like a size 40 inch. So what you have to do is you have to cut it in like here. So you go wide and then you cut it in for the waist.
Thanks for having me in your store.
Pleasure, Nick. Thank you so much for coming all the way out from Long Island City.
Yes, we're Queens buddies now. I got a lot of Queens pride. I'm gonna make the pilgrimage out here more often, and I'm gonna get a lot more canvas while I'm at it. Bye everybody, subscribe as well if you just went up here for more stuff on casual durable menswear. Yeah. All right, Left Field NYC.